this is what we do. So maybe we could welcome people and then we could get into it.
Yeah. So, hi.
Hi.
Welcome back to Our Wild Beautiful Life.
Oh, beautiful.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Our Wild Beautiful Life podcast. As you can probably tell, our background is a little bit different.
Unless you're on Spotify.
Unless you're on Spotify and
you
are listening in, we will just let you know that the background is currently different because as well as we say, welcome to our beautiful life, welcome to our home.
Welcome to our house.
We're actually filming right now in our lounge room in our home, which is pretty exciting. So, fair warning, you may hear banging kids. You may hear banging of feet above us. We are downstairs, they are upstairs. You may hear a dog or two, just one dog bark.
I doubt you're going to hear the second dog.
He may try and come into the screen. We will see how that goes.
He's had a pretty hectic morning and he looks like
he's pretty asleep. So. You may hear the trains.
Ooh.
Hopefully not.
No.
But
you shouldn't hear it from this.
If you've seen or listened to our intro.
Intro's not on Spotify.
Actually, intro's not on Spotify. If you have watched on our Instagram page, YouTube page of our introduction, we were in our backyard and you would have heard the trains. But apologies, my brain and my words don't want to add up and line up right now. We have had a very full morning hosting our beautiful house fire in our home. And so because of that, my brain and my words aren't quite computing. But that's okay. We will do our best today. Maybe you'll do more talking than me this time around because I talked a lot in the last few ones.
Well, we could talk. I was thinking we could talk about, there's a whole bunch of stuff that led from where we left off. We talked a lot about, not trying to do a full recap, but we talked a lot about the journey between finding out we were pregnant with Drake through to, I guess, his birth. Did we talk about kind of like, how far did we go after his birth?
We stopped at his birth.
We stopped at his birth?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. So we didn't talk about I thought we talked a little bit about like living arrangements and all sorts of stuff.
I think we did that before.
So we touched on it, but not really sort of dove.
We touched on that.
Because today, we've come out a big week, like a really, really big week.
And we were very aware that last week's podcast went for almost an hour.
So we're very aware of time.
So we're aware of time today and just making sure that we are still honouring people's time who are willing to sit down and watch or be listening, whether you're going for a walk or in your car, or even if it's just while you're doing things around the house. So, but we also are very aware that some people who want to sit down and watch, we want to keep your time honoured. So
also, there's this thing called pause that you can do when you're watching something or listening, and you can leave it and then come back, and guess what? You can press play and just pick up.
From all my mamas out there, you can pop us on while you fold laundry or wash the dishes. Or...
I think it's something like Joe Rogan's podcast, right? Which, I haven't listened to many of it, but everyone says it goes for hours. I do have a new one that I've been, our friends John and Courtney from America, who have their own podcast. And anyway, he put me onto this one called Acquired, which is these two guys essentially going through the history of like big businesses, like where they've started from, how they sort of transitioned into what they're doing. So I'm doing one which is all on Rolex at the moment, like how it started before World War One, the company Rolex, and a bit about like how watches have evolved over time and how they've had such an integral part of becoming like waterproof and like depth, like pressure proof, if that makes sense, and all sorts of stuff. It's a 5-hour podcast.
Wow. I'm not sure I'm prepared to listen to a 5-hour podcast, so I
reckon you could talk for I reckon you could. Well, this is why the pause button, like It takes me like 3 weeks to get through one episode.
It's like reading an audiobook or listening to an audiobook,
Yeah, it's nearly as
a
long.
miniseries.
It's true.
I could definitely talk for that long.
That's true. I wonder whether it's like, this is the joke that we had. It's just like, let's make a 5-hour movie or a 6-hour movie. No one would ever sit through a 6-hour movie. All right, let's make a mini series of 1-hour episodes and put it on Netflix, and everyone just sits down and binge
Binges.
watches the whole thing.
Or it is. It's like you sit down one night and you go, oh, let's watch a movie. Nah, movies take too long. I don't want to sit down through that. But let's watch a TV show. You watch one episode and you're like, oh, let's do another. Oh, wait, we got time for one more. We are so bad for that.
We used to be really bad for it. Well, I reckon we've got a lot better in the fact that
But we don't watch TV anymore.
That's what I mean. We've got a lot better since we've run out of time to watch TV.
Except for the fact that we are trying to make more intentional time with our teenagers, and our teenagers love watching movies.
Yes. But anyway, I just think that that's hilarious because we used to be pretty bad. We had like 6 or 7 shows on the go at one time.
Yeah.
But
we had little ones that went to bed at 7 a.m. 7 p.m.
7 a.m. How good would that be?
7 p.m. each night.
What time are they getting up to go to bed at 7 a.m. though?
I have no idea. But we used to have littles that would go to bed. All of them would go to bed at the same time. So we would have multiple hours in the evening to be able to do those kind of things. Now we have teenagers who come alive after 8 p.m. Now, I used to be a night owl and not a morning person.
Actually, we used to joke that, and this is right when you're in the thick of
babies.
Like we call it the beautiful chaos, right?
Yeah.
We're talking like pre-teen kids, and we had 4 in that stage for quite a long time. We've only got 1 in that stage.
We think about it, like when Isaiah was born, we have 4 under 8.
Yeah, so it was 8,
4,
5,
4.
4. Well, there's a very short period of time where like he would have been 5 and Drake would have been 8. But yeah, so 5 and then 4 and then 2 and a bit.
No, he wasn't even. When Isaiah was born,
Oh yeah, because it's 2.5 years. Yeah, so 2.
So when I found out I'm pregnant with Isaiah, Ezekiel was 13 months old.
Yeah.
So he wasn't yet 2.
Yeah. So
he was 1.
So going through that period of time, when we got them all to bed, it's just like I was just exhausted. Like there's just no brain capacity for anything at that stage. And it was like, oh, what should we do? We'll just watch something. And
we'd numb out.
And mind you, it is one of our things that we have loved doing, going to the movies together or sitting and watching something.
We are movie buff.
Yeah, so
people. We love film and TV shows.
We've really enjoyed, and I guess that comes down to the love languages. Yours, quality time. It's just being together.
Yeah.
Like
I have found though, like more recently, like we love the fact that we can all sit down and watch a movie together. But my most favorite things recently that I've seen that little bit more now. Our house is not giant. Our house is relatively small. We live in a 3-bedroom townhouse. But my most favorite thing has been for some reason, if I am in the kitchen, everybody's in the kitchen. Like, even if they're just hanging out in the kitchen while I'm in there doing stuff. And my favorite thing has been that because they come in and everyone's just chatting, they're whatever, or just hanging out. And sometimes we're like, you turn around in our tiny kitchen and someone's right there, or someone's trying to open the fridge and someone else is standing right near the bench near the fridge. And it's like
someone's chopping something up and the dishwasher's trying to be opened at the same time.
Or someone's trying to get to the bin, but someone's at the sink, and it's just this absolute chaos. But
I don't know.
It's probably one of my favorite things. Anyway, we were talking about late nights and how...
I just realised anyone listening on Spotify has just heard us go real quiet and just like, look.
There was a bang
There was
happening.
a big banging on the opposite of the wall.
Our neighbours are on the opposite side of that wall. Their garage is there, so it's probably banging around. But what I was saying was that it seems like you were saying I used to be like not a morning
yeah.
person, not a night owl, but an exhausted pigeon. So that basically means I just didn't do awake very well. And I didn't do asleep very well either. But, you know, that was probably my cortisol levels were through the roof and all the things. Like I was in, because of our, not because we had little kids, but because of a lot of things that were happening within our life. My body was in a state of fight or flight for almost 20 years.
It was for a long time, and I think
a long time.
As we came through that, like, or as we've now looked back and we've learnt things and all sorts of stuff, it's like figuring out something that we enjoyed doing together, not to the fact that everything else got pushed to the side.
No.
Like we still ran a life and we still did things, and like it wasn't laziness in any way, shape or form, but like
it was us just trying to reconnect or stay connected on some level because other areas of our life were falling apart. And it was like almost like this is something we have in common right now.
Yeah.
And we were holding on for dear life for that while we were navigating some things, which obviously we will get into. But yeah, we were talking about the differences now. Like, so when the kids were little, that they would go to bed and we'd have all these hours. And now, so our ages span between 11 and 19. So we've technically got 3 teenagers in our house, and teenagers come alive at a certain hour. And so, but now we're in the
after
season,
my bedtime.
we're in the season of life where we've been getting up early because we were going to the gym.
Or to the beach.
Or whatever, to surf, whatever it might have been. And I would be like dog tired by 8:30 in the evening. And I'm like,
usually asleep by 8:30.
Our teenagers were putting us to bed and tucking us in at like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then staying up later. But one of the things that I have been really intentionally trying to do is stay awake, because it's quite hilarious anyway, because we might have gone to bed, but 9 times out of 10, when the teenagers are done and they're ready for bed, they actually come into our room, and sometimes we're actually asleep or semi-asleep, and they come in and just sit on the bed and start chatting. And you have to be fully present. Like, it is like, okay, we're awake. What do you, and sometimes it might be 5 minutes. Sometimes it might be
well, what was the one? Literally, it was literally only like 2 nights ago or so. You were asleep. I'm pretty sure I was nearly asleep. And the big ones come in and he was just like, he just said,
I've just got some worries and I really need to talk it out. And I was like, okay.
I'm like,
we're okay.
Couldn't it have been like an hour ago when we were all sitting together? And like,
but you can't, like, it's one of those things where, like, we look at it now, and maybe this one is actually about the differences between having little ones and big ones. And, you know, we used to get told when they were little, one, there was that saying of, just wait till they're teenagers. I hate that saying. I hate that saying so much, because it automatically just puts this blanket over them. And I am passionate about teenagers now because I have them, of them being completely misunderstood, and by society literally deeming them a certain way without even giving them a chance.
Yeah.
But the whole thing around, it was almost like adults forgot what it was like to be a teenager, or they had a really negative experience as a teenager and it just makes them bitter. I don't know. Like, I don't know what it is about it. But, you know, I find that when kids are little, when you have littles in your home, so the beautiful chaos,
yep,
that is when you are physically exhausted a lot of the time, and you fall into bed physically exhausted because they constantly need you in a physical way.
Oh, and they're just like a little Energizer bunny.
Yeah.
They just don't stop.
Yeah.
Like, unless they're sleeping, there is two speeds,
Yeah.
on and off.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And even sometimes in their sleep, they're really not. Like one of our children just is on all the time. Actually, two of them. They're on all the time during the day, and then at night their brain is on all the time, so they're dreaming all the time. And it's like, I'm like, you poor darling must be so exhausted. The other one just hardly ever slept. He's like FOMO. He's like, I am wherever you guys are. Like, do not
let's
ever,
party. Let's party.
Let's party. Don't leave me out. I need to be where you guys are. So young children were very physically exhausting, or you're using up a lot of your physicalness for that. As we move into the weight of teenagers, and I think maybe we don't call it the weight of teenagers. Maybe that's adding to that narrative. Like saying it's weighty, but like what kind of weighty? Is that a negative weighty, or is that more? Is she trying to scratch at the door?
No, I can't see.
No, maybe not.
I think he was just dreaming, so it sounded like scratching. Well, no, I would say
when you talk about that, what do you mean?
Well, we say
when you teach on
when
this?
we're coaching on it, we talk around the idea of we're moving into the weight of teenagers, and the weight of teenagers is that you are carrying them through. You're carrying them through a transition period. It's not that it's negative. You think about when we go to the gym, you want to add more weight, right? Because that shows progress and all sorts of stuff.
It builds your strength, sorry.
But when it comes to, I see the weight of teenagers as being, I guess, the
Do you feel like there's more responsibility?
From our point of view?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's more responsibility. Like, I mean, when they're little, you got to keep them alive. And when they're older, you're trying to help guide them into making their own decisions to keep them alive.
I feel like that's more weighty because you get full control and you're the sole responsibility of keeping, of helping these little ones. But then as they get into teenagers, that, not that it's the division, but you are then having to like release more of the responsibility onto them.
Oh, yeah.
To essentially make decisions for themselves.
Yeah, this is the hardest part about being a parent of a teenager, is that at some point they have to start making their own decisions, and you have to be okay with some of those decisions, even though you do not agree with them.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my gosh, how many times I have had to close my mouth and zip it shut, or you've like physically removed me and like, shh, don't say anything more.
Okay, but let's use something that's probably a little bit less emotionally draining, right? Okay. Gabe's, hold on. Gabe's has been working for the last year and a half, give or take, nearly 2 years.
2 years.
He's been working, and through that position of growing up and getting a job and those type of things, we've navigated how to engage with other employees and how to handle criticism and all of these type of things. But at the end of the day, we can't control what he does or how he responds. But also with that comes money. So we've had the responsibility, which is a weight, right, of teaching people how to responsibly look after their finances. And in that, he has probably made quite a lot of poor decisions in our eyes.
Oh, in his. He's definitely given his 2 cents of saying he can identify that he has an issue with spending too much money.
Awesome. Okay. So there's that. But there's also the other side of it. It's just like he chooses to spend quite a lot of that money on food that we don't usually buy in this house. And there's a time and a place for those conversations. But at the end of the day, there's also we kind of just have to let you...
This is why I fuel him so well at home to counterbalance.
It's, the sugary drinks
not so
and
great stuff that he brings into the house.
Right. But
he's always been our sweet tooth.
Yeah, and I guess that's one of the weights that we do carry, right? It was explained like this, right? When you are little, okay, and you go on an overseas holiday, when you're a toddler, you might carry a little backpack. Mm-hmm. And in your backpack, you might have like your little teddy and a book and maybe your drink bottle or those type of things. But most of the things that you will need are going to be in mum and dad, maybe in mum's oversized purse that she's going to be carrying.
My Mary Poppins bag.
Got a blankie and a bottle and all those other things, right? And then all the clothes are probably in mum or dad's suitcase and those type of things,
All their
right?
documents, yeah.
Okay. When they become a little bit older and they're going to be like 9-ish, give or take. I'm just picking an age.
There's no
right?
relation.
No, but I'm picking an age,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
So we've gone toddler. We're now like pre-teen, right? They might now have their own little wheelie bag that they carry along. So they carry a little bit more weight themselves, right? When they become a teenager, they've probably got their own gear and they're probably helping pack.
They are responsible. We did a big trip and our boys were responsible for their own bags.
Correct. But at the end of the day, who still double checked everything before we left, right? We did, right? Like, so then there will be a time where they will go on a trip by themselves, and Drake's done this, Gabe's has done this, where they've had to go by themselves, and at the end of the day, we've helped them with the idea of what they probably need to take. And I'm pretty sure Gabe's is last trip or Drake's, I didn't check anything. I just like, have you got that? Like, yep, okay. Like, if you don't, it's not on me. I'm not even going to be there, right? So you'll have to work it out. And then when they, I guess, grow up to be adults, right? Okay, you want to go on a trip? Awesome. You don't take something, like no one's there to check up on you.
Yeah.
So I think the weight of teenagers is what you were getting at, which is when they're little, it's it's physically draining.
Yeah.
Right?
When they turn into teenagers, it becomes emotionally it requires so much more of you emotionally.
Yeah. Right? It's more conversations. It's more...
Because you're dealing with their emotions and all the changes that happen through puberty and hormones. And now, guys, if you are a parent of boys, little ones, please know their hormones affect them just as much as what a female's do. Females work on a monthly cycle. Boys are a 24-hour cycle. So they might have a massive big emotional blow up, but it finishes a lot quicker. And you only have to really kind of like, it's not as sometimes.
Not as what?
I'm not entirely sure of the right words.
Sure.
For that space. But basically, like, boys definitely have just as much emotional and hormonal things that they have going on than girls do. Yes, girls are more known in our generation to be the ones to voice that, or at least express that in ways that people go, oh, it's probably the hormones and emotions.
Sure.
Boys, thankfully, we are changing the narrative with boys which is why I'm really glad and I feel very blessed that we have boys, because we get to be part of the change we see in how this generation of boys that turn into men are a lot more stable. We're seeing in this next generation a lot more present and emotionally available dads. We have people that are actually being father figures and real, like being present in the home, who are, being contributing both, inside and outside the home. Like, it is become more of a partnership in a marriage. But also, it's okay, you can come down.
So just, no, we'll go get him, but we just need you to let us know when he's ready.
Okay, well, are you ready, Gabe?
Sorry, guys.
Yes, then he's ready.
Okay, we will be an extra 10 minutes and then we'll go get him.
10 minutes.
Got one kid ready to go.
So. We got one kid ready to go.
No, but can you share something? Because I think one of the things that we were talking about, and we'll sort of wrap up on this idea anyway, is that, first of all, to be clear, we are not talking about changing men into sissies or those type of things. Hold on.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
I got a couple of things.
Yeah, okay.
We do have to clearly identify that the hormonal changes that both boys and girls will go through have different, the boys will go through testosterone.
Are different,
yes. The testosterone fueled hormones versus the estrogen based ones, right? So that does display differently in some instances.
Absolutely does.
But what we're actually talking about is the fact that so many boys are taught to ignore their emotions
Yes.
and to push everything down and
Yes.
to like pretend it doesn't happen. And then what happens is you actually get all emotionally like empaths almost, right?
Yeah.
That have been squished their whole life
Yeah.
and then don't know how to express any emotion when they become a teenager or an adult or those sort of things, and therefore go into the world like angry, like because every other emotion has been shut down, and that's the only one that seems to be accepted by society from guys, is that like, oh yeah, he's just an angry guy, like we sort of get it, but
Or the tough angry
tough
man.
or
Yeah.
whatever it is, versus the fact that you might have a guy that just was born an empath,
Yeah.
where they feel so much, but because they've been told to squish it and boys don't have emotions and all that type of stuff, they're struggling.
So in that, you explained it very, very well.
I've heard you say it about a million times.
I do strongly believe that we have and all you have to do is look in the media or anything, that we have a high level of violence from men towards women. Now, please hear me out when I say there is also violence from women to men. I don't want to like take away from that, but where we're talking about right now is that we do seem to have a generation of very angry men, and there is a lot of violence happening, and I believe that has come from it's only been in this, so only in our generation, we are the ones changing the game. We are the one saying the buck stops here. Because we are recognizing that it is unhealthy the way that we've done things in the past. And so men, yes, because we had the war and all those kind of things, men were perceived to be, they had to be strong and provide, and this big roar, but that is very much a yes. But if a man showed any sort of emotion, it was shut down. You don't cry. You don't need to do that. But also it was done to women as well.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I know for me, there was a lot of level of emotions that I wasn't allowed to feel or didn't feel I had the right to feel. But we have people, especially men, who, yes, like you said, empaths, exactly what you said. Empath is someone who has compassion and cares deeply and feels things deeply. It's not just a woman's thing, but that was perceived as weak.
Yeah. And
so because of that, there has been, if you squash enough, then that's what happens. It's like you said, the anger becomes the main thing.
Yeah.
The biggest thing, and we've realized this because this was how this is our generation and the generation before us. We can see it. It's not just from men, it's from women as well. It wasn't just the dad saying, blah, 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 blah. The mum said it too. And because our grandparents came from a very hard life. When we hear the stories about all those kind of things, they come from that. So basically, we, especially you and I, because you could probably speak on this another time, and we will, because we're going to obviously go into your story when it comes to mental health and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But a lot of your anger stuff did come from the fact that you didn't actually know how to feel your emotions.
Yeah.
But we started noticing it with our eldest, and because we were the same, we were like, you're okay, you're all right, up you get, it's that typical, don't cry, you'll be fine, if they hurt themselves or they're feeling whatever. It was only as we kind of got a bit more into having kids, and if we're completely honest, Isaiah was
He was kind of the
tipping
game
point.
changer.
He was the game changer. We had all 3 kids, and we were we know what we're doing parenting. We've done parenting. We know what we're doing, all the things. And he came along. God went, you have absolutely no idea, and I'm going to show you a whole new way, and it's actually going to completely change your family.
Which it has.
Which it has, and because we had to learn how to allow our boys to feel their emotions, because we were a very volatile house, a very angry house, and we went against the grain, basically, and people were not happy.
Yeah.
Like we have come
We'll
against a
definitely-
lot of
we'll-
opposition.
We'll definitely get into that,
Yeah.
especially as we go through each of the other kids'
Yeah.
births and those type of things. But
But one thing we do love is that raising boys means we're raising men,
yeah, we're raising someone's future husband, and
future
we're
husband,
raising
future father.
future
Yeah.
head of the house, and
Yeah.
and that's not from a macho type thing, but
No.
it's just like we believe that.
It says in the Bible that they come together as a pair.
Yeah, they come together to build the house.
Man cannot
and
be without woman.
100%. Well, so many weird conversations that could come from that, but we are going to wrap it up there, guys. We thank you very much for.
It was a very bit random one today.
This is not what we talked about talking about, but
random.
Yeah, we talked
Random.
before, and we had a bit of a plan about a few
Yeah.
things that are going to be next parts of the story and all sorts. This was not it.
No, but what I can say to finish it off is that
Okay, bombshell. What are you leaving us with?
now that our boys, so this is why it's important that we actually. This is why it's so important that 5 years ago we didn't do this. That why it's being done now. Because there is no way 5 years ago we could speak into what we speak into now.
You mean from the podcast?
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
you mean yeah.
Because
yeah.
we had like in the last 5 years is where we have unlearnt and relearnt so much.
Yeah.
And when we share from this space where we talk about, emotions and boys and things like that, and the importance of connection first, over punishment, and actually over consequences, because in the end, natural consequences serve up anyway. About respect over fear, earning respect, not fear, all those kind of things. We can now speak from that space because the evidence is there. And we have got quite some of you have not met our children before, but a lot of you have. And the amount of times that we have had people pull us aside or message us or whatever it might be, who have commented on how our boys hold themselves, how they are respectful in a way that is like genuine, how they treat other people, all this kind of thing. And the emotional intelligence of our boys proves to us that changing what we knew and trusting what God was asking us to do, even though it seemed crazy and against the norm and all of those kind of things, it
worked.
The evidence is there.
Yeah.
So we feel we can speak from this because the evidence is there with our boys. Now that we're not perfect and they're not perfect, there is definitely moments where they are really dysregulated. But we as adults have trouble regulating our emotions.
100%.
So how can we expect a child who absolutely has not learnt a lot and not had enough life experience to be able to regulate theirs? So I just want to allow mums in particular, but also dads that are listening right now or watching, I want to remind you that you are awesome, that you are doing a phenomenal job, that human beings in general are very complicated
And messy.
And we have control issues and all sorts of things. But if you're sitting there and at any moment have a thought, I'm not doing a good job, I am ruining my children, please know that even you just saying that proves that you are doing a great job and that you're a really epic parent, because you care enough to ask yourself that question.
Yeah.
And any sort of parenting is difficult. Any sort of thing where you interact with other human beings can be difficult. But we are all learning and breaking off generational trauma. We are breaking off things that have held on to us in the past. We are trying to do better. And our children are beautiful in being, the resilient is not the word, but our children are beautifully forgiving because of the unconditional love that we pour out. And because they actually also unconditionally love us. In their eyes, when they're little especially, we can do no wrong. And that's actually proving and shows the grace of God. That no matter what we do, like it's just, like it's that beauty of it. It's like...
Yes, but
yeah, I'm
you've
not going to...
just talked for 5 more minutes.
Sorry, guys.
You got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah,
We're
you're
well
doing a
over.
good job. You're doing a good job.
So, until next time.
We
have
love
fun.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for those that have made comments, for those that have sort of liked our show. It definitely helps other people find us. It definitely helps us make sure that we are...
We're also not in it for that.
No, but it helps. No, but what I'm saying is like, it really helps us understand that we're on the right path, if that makes sense.
And even if this podcast is just for the one person, what it takes to set it up, which is like all Baron, and he does an amazing job. But like setting it up, editing, all the editing that gets done is that we match up there's 3 different cameras. Obviously you can see when that video happens, and we match all the audio up. That's all that gets done. We don't cut anything out unless it's like the little fiddly bits at the start while we're kind of playing with mics and getting things sorted. But you still put that in.
Not all the time.
So all of that, we would still do it even if just one person was watching, because we know that whomever needs to hear what we are sharing, God brings the right people along and it will get to them. And if it's only one person, which it's not, it's actually a lot of you, which we really appreciate. Hello to the 17 subscribers. We love you. But if that's all that God needs us to speak to, then
that's it.
That's it.
So until next week. Until next week. See you later.
Peace out.
A-Town.
We love you. A-Town. Was it? Peace out, A-Town. Is that right?
I don't know.
Woo! Peace out, A-Town. No, A-Town. A-Town, peace out. I don't know. Peace, A-Town. What's that song?
Usher.
I don't know if I want to talk about Usher.
Well, I'm just saying that's
It's
where
connected to Diddy.
Anyway, bye.